Hello and welcome back to Pin My Podfics. This is the Podficer's Baton Pass for Traffic Light Trio by Itslivybear. If you don't know how this works, what are you doing? This is chapter 38. How do you not know how this works? But anyways, this, if you already know, just skip until 10 seconds later. I'm reading chapter 38, and Puppy read the previous chapter, and we'll be reading this, the next one, and this will be passing along until the work is finished, until the podfic is finished. Now let's get on with the chapter. Chapter 38. Welcome to the Catmosphere. And also summary from the author. In my notes, this chapter has always been called Villan Cat Fight, even before I decided to have a cat cafe. Mido almost becomes a mass murderer. Also, there's also a link to the music if you want it, and it's what's playing in the cafe. I won't be editing it. I'm just too lazy. I don't know how to edit that thing in. Izuku crouched down to smile at Eri. I'll be right back, but I have to get my server outfit, okay? You can sit over there and talk to the wild pussycats. How does it sound? I'll be right back, okay, princess? She looked at the brightly colored heroes and nodded, sitting down at the beanbag chair with the low coffee table in front of it, clutching the green dragon to her chest. Izuku caught a glance of Mandalay leaning down and introducing Kota. Oh yeah, they had brought him along too. To Eri, while a cat settled next to her, before he slipped into the kitchen and passed that to the staff room. The calm piano and guitar music swept over the entire cafe, with Momo and Kyoka in the main helm. Occasionally, Denki or Tokoyami would sub in for the guitar on some of the more simple songs. They were all slightly jazzy renditions of Studio Ghibli songs, from movies like Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, and My Neighbor Totoro. Izuku stubbornly shoved the cat ears into the generous skirt pockets. Momo and the rest of the girls had insisted on pockets, and ran his thumbs up the dark green suspenders to strain them completely. Everyone had a different color based on their hero outfits and general color scheme. Suyu had an olive green set, Uraraka a soft pink, Mina wore a more vibrant pink, Todoroki actually had one side white and one side red, Momo had dark red, and so on. Izuku found himself rather fond of most of this outfit. He probably wouldn't wear the skirt all that often since he would be moving a lot, and action left him in danger of flashing people. But the white button-down and colored suspenders was a look, especially with the black bottoms. He stepped back out and walked over to Eri with a smile. All ready. Have you had a chance to look at the menu yet? She looked up at him and blinked, before looking around. Everyone else has ears? He blinked and cursed internally. She looked up at him with wide eyes. He couldn't help but sigh, digging into his pockets. I forgot to put them on. Her eyes lit up, and he couldn't even find it himself to be mad. She was so close to smiling. What's Yanberry shortcake? Oh, it's strawberries and cream over a square of shortcake. She blinked. Do you have any apple things? He beamed. Yep, the kitty claws are apple turnovers. You want to try one? She nodded. Okay, great. Would you like tea or hot chocolate to drink? She looked up at him with wide eyes. Hot chocolate? Kota huffed and folded his arms. It's good. Get it. She nodded hesitantly. Okay. And Kota, you want anything to eat? He looked away with a scowl, and Izuku didn't quite catch his mutter. I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Can I try the blueberry muffin? Izuku grinned. Sure. What about you four? Ragdoll giggled. Oh, nothing for now. We're just stopping in to say hi. Our part isn't for another few hours. We'll pop back to talk about rescue cats, though. You guys have fun. Izuku smiled and nodded, waving them out and putting in the drink orders as he went into the kitchen to get the asked-for food. Mina saluted him and immediately went to work as he ducked into the back. Shoji, Meowfin, and Kitty Claw? His many-armed classmate plated the berry and asked for desserts and slid them across the counter to Izuku, who picked up one of the circular black trays Momo had made. A quick stop by Mina at the counter, and she set both plates and mugs in front of the kids, who now had 3 cats hanging around. Kota was pointing out their behavior to Eri, and neither of them quite noticing his reappearance, and he smiled softly. He heard the door open and looked up before freezing. He clenched the tray in his hand and stepped silently over. Out, he hissed. But no. He pushed Shigaraki out the door. Not today. I knew you had been too quiet, but you're not doing this today. He sent a glance at Momo on the piano, and her eyes widened as he closed the door, but her playing never faltered. Izuku! He whirled around. Toga? She pouted, clearly using someone's blood to blend in. I told you to call me Himiko. I thought we were friends. His gaze swept over both the League and the Stain groupies who had apparently just noticed the other was there, and he could sense their hackles rising, but he clapped the serving tray, startling them to look at him. Listen up, he hissed. You do not fuck with me today, got it? Tomorrow, sure, but today is the first day Eri has been let out of the hospital and the cultural festival. I honestly think that at this point, if my own class doesn't murder you idiots for showing up, the rest of the school will. Because this is something we have all been working on for months, and if you fuck it up by causing a scene, you will have the wrath of the whole damn school on you. The support students are crazy, so here's the deal. He was cut off as a man literally bounced in front of and between both groups, followed by a tiny pink woman, and Izuku's eyes narrowed. Hello, the man said, bowing low. I am gentle criminal. Yeah, I know. And you must be La Brava, she squealed. Gentle! You really are famous. No, Izuku mercilessly cut her off. I just make it my business to know who might kidnap me at any moment, especially if they threaten my tentative day of peace. Now, as I was telling the other groups who have noted that also seen your message and thought, hey, you know, what would be good if we ruin Midoriya's day. I was just saying that if you try something, no one will find your body. I don't care how strong you think you are. Pissed off students will kill you, and I don't even think the teachers will find it in themselves to care. If the alarm goes off, this whole thing is over and we all go on lockback. Now, he stood straight, brandishing the serving tray with white knuckles and gesturing his free hand back to the Catmosphere, their cafe. There is a little grunt in there that has forgotten how to smell, and if cat therapy is disrupted because the evil fucking knights decided to show up and crash the party, I will straight up become a mass murderer. Don't test me. However, he stressed the word, if you want to stay and be guests, that's fine, but please know that we're doing this for charity, with all the money donated back to the local animal shelters, and I will expect a donation from each party. It's that or leave. Your choice. He spun on his heel back into the cat cafe and breathed a sigh as the music washed over him again. He walked over to the bar. As a heads up, the League groupies and that gentle criminal guy may or may not be popping in. I have already warned them with the threat of death by angry students if they try anything. Bakugo blinked, genuinely dumbfounded. Mina was quicker on the draw. Excuse me, she hissed. They just expect to walk in here? We also have 3 pros. Izuku nodded. Their disguises were halfway decent, actually. They know better than to cause trouble. I'll warn the other servers and the music crew. They nodded dumbly, and Izuku walked over to the closest server. Todoroki. Hey. The boy jumped and spun, recoiling a little with a flash of red over his cheeks. He straightened up and cleared his throat. Midoriya, how can I help you? My friend, different groups of kidnappers might come in. The door opened as if on cue and Izuku spun around. The first ones. Gentle, Criminal, and La Brava. He walked over to them with a stiff smile. Welcome to the Catmosphere. I see you've made your choice. Right this way. He grabbed two menus and turned on his heel to one of the empty spaces, setting down both menus and smiling at them. Your server will be right over. He caught Denki's eye, and the golden eyes widened as he took in who exactly was sitting down. Noting the mustached man first, and then the small woman beside him. So do take a look over those menus. Next in the door was Toga, Spinner, and Twice. The staying groupie one, presumably. Welcome to the Catmosphere, right this way. He sat them down into the Todoroki's section, knowing the other boy had already started to spread the news so no one would freak out. Last in was the majority of the league, Shigaraki, Davi, and Magne Twice, wearing a different and opposite disguise from the other one color-wise. And Mr. Compress, Kurogiri, was not in attendance. He sighed. All three groups, huh? Fine, whatever you know the rules, right this way. And welcome to the Catmosphere. Davi looked like he was trying not to laugh at the bewildered expression Shigaraki was making at the whole area and waved A over. Take a look at those menus and we'll be right back. A came up behind him as he walked into the back room, barely holding back a scream. Hey man, that was the league, right? And Gentle and the groupies, yes, God, it would be just my luck to have goddamn all for one walk through those doors, wouldn't it? I just wanted a good day for Eri. Was that too much to ask? He kept a careful eye on them while still serving other customers, noting how they loosened up and seemed to genuinely enjoy themselves, playing with the cats. Davi in particular attracted many, likely due to his higher-than-average body temperature. They were, by virtue of their arrival, some of the first customers, and eventually they ate all the baked goods, drank all the drinks they could, and pet all the cats. And it was time to go. They started to get up and Izuku stared them down, challenging them. The donation box was on the corner of the counter, prominent and eye-catching, so it would not be missed, especially since most of the decoration was light and desaturated to accentuate the calm atmosphere. Almost guiltily, some with pouts, they approached the donation box and scrounged through their pockets to find some money. The groupies didn't have a lot on them. Actually, scratch that, none of them did. Izuku wasn't sure what he was expecting, to be entirely honest. He ushered them out and followed them out the door. Thank you for coming, he said cheerfully, but they knew his smile was icy. Tell your friends! He did his absolute best to not slam the door behind himself when he went back inside. He smiled at Eri, and she tentatively smiled back. He felt his heart melt and sighed, walking over. I see you both finished your hot chocolates, he grinned. Would you like another? Eri's eyes grew wide and she nodded. 2 more hot chocolates, he beamed. Coming right up. Any sweets? Can I try the nyanberry shortcake? He smiled softly. Of course. Kota? The kitty claw looked good. And so, his shift continued. The whole thing would last for 4 hours total, and the class was split between working and not. So he only had another hour before he was free to take Eri all around the festival, showing her what all the other classes were doing. Then they'd come back and help with the cleaning and relax with the cats. He had 15 minutes left in his shift, and when a chill crawled down his spine, something like an alarm went off in his head. He slowly straightened and looked at the door. The man looked different, but Izuku knew what he was feeling. What are you doing here? He chuckled. Now, my boy, it hardly seems hospitable. Welcome to the Catmosphere, he said dully. Why are you here, all for one? Oh, please, no need for that. Shirogaki Hisashi is my name, and Tomura, my adoptive son, came back talking about the delightful cat cafe. I simply had to visit myself. Izuku was too tense to really do anything other than register the name in the barest sense before he was escorting the man in the wheelchair, as if he needed it, yeah, right, to one of the corners in the room, as far away from Eri and Kota as he could make him. Take your time looking over the menu, Izuku said with a strained smile, and someone will be right with you. Oh my, fostering me off on someone else so quickly. Oh right, this is the supervillain of the underground who could probably raise the school. How had he gotten past security, honestly? Right, I will be your server today. Can I get you started off with anything to drink? I am rather intrigued by this cat. I think I'll have one of those. And then a nyancha. That is a mocha, right? Nyanka. Mocha, right? I would have gone with mocat, but yes. Each of those. Izuku smiled and quickly jabbered off the order to Mina and Bakugo before darting into the back and with gasping breaths and shaking fingers, pulling out his phone and pressing on one of his contacts. My boy, what is it? All for one is in our cafe. He said his name is Shiguraki Hisashi, and Izuku's words caught up with his brain and he sucked in another breath. My boy, are you alright? No, it's probably just a coincidence. It's fine. Anyway, he seems peaceful enough. The leak was earlier here. What? My boy! All Might, it's fine. I just wanted to let you know everything will be fine. We've got it under control. I have to go back out before he starts to antagonize people. I can't let him interact with anybody else. He hung up without letting All Might reply and took a fortifying breath, walking back out, snagging both drinks on his way and setting them on the side table he had set the supervillain, who happened to share a given name with his long-gone father. Nothing was wrong. All for one was downright pleasant, even if Izuku was on edge and the alarms in his head were screaming the entire time. And before he left, he wheeled himself over to the donation box and slipped in a check. Finally, he left, and Izuku let out a sigh of relief. He watched as the 200-year-old man in a wheelchair wheeled himself right back out these gates, not even bothering with anything else, and took off his uniform and gathered up Eri after the pussycats had given their speech on rescuing animals. He was going to give her the best day ever. And that was the end of, well, my part in this little project, but yeah, chapter 38, welcome to the Catmosphere. There's only like 2 chapters left of this, so yeah. Also, a quick note, I'm suffocating in here. I don't know why I chose to record this in my closet, but it's so small. I'm laying down, and I occupy like 90% of this closet. I don't know why I chose to record in here. Anyways, have whatever time of day it is, and just as I've said before, hydrate or die straight.